This is the only thing that I can't wrap my head around with Battlefield, bro. Camos, weapon camos. Now, look, I'm not trying to bring the fucking Beavis and Butthead operators over to Battlefield. It's not what I'm here to do. I'm not saying that we need to have that fucking Alan or Roger from American Dad running around on the battlefield. That's not what I'm saying. Please do not misconstrue what I'm saying. I'm begging you. I'm not talking about operators. I'm all for military simulating or military simulated shooters. But
that I can find so far, at least.
I will say, I do like having reactive camos on my absolute weapon, dude. I do like when I get over 1,000 headshots that my weapon has a gold camo. I do like showing off the fact that I have mastered this weapon in every way, shape, and form, and I was rewarded by getting something that other players don't have. All right, this is the only thing.
All right, this is what I'm talking about, man. I mean, honestly, listening to this thing is making my brain rot because I've been seeing this trend from streamers, especially former Call of Duty players, talking about how Battlefield 6 should have kill streaks, flashy reactive weapon camos, and all these grind-heavy systems that literally don't belong in Battlefield. It honestly blows my mind. Like, are these guys even hearing themselves? You're asking Battlefield to become a slightly slower version of CoD, when the whole point of Battlefield is to be different, to be large scale, to be about team play, about immersion, about chaos, not some dopamine chasing cosmetic grind. You got guys like Nadeshot, Swagg, and others basically saying things like, Battlefield needs reactive camos like Call of Duty, or Battlefield would be more fun if it had kill streaks or flashy rewards for kills. And I'm sitting here thinking that's exactly how Battlefield lost its soul last time around. Remember Battlefield 2042? It was a game that tried to appeal to the Call of Duty crowd. Operators, futuristic gadgets, random flashy cosmetics, all that nonsense. And what happened? The game flopped. Hardcore Battlefield fans hated it, and COD fans still didn't switch over. The moment you start chasing another franchise's identity, you've already lost. Battlefield doesn't need to be Call of Duty. It needs to double down on what makes it special. The destruction, the teamwork, the scale, realism. Those are the things that it needs to focus on, and you can't just throw in these reactive camos and think that's going to keep players hooked. Nadeshot and these guys, they're great at content, don't get me wrong, but they come from a completely different ecosystem. They live in this grind and reward bubble where your worth in the game is tied to how many flashy skins you've earned and how cracked your aim looks in a montage. But that's not Battlefield. Battlefield is about the experience and not about flexing your mastery camo. I think that's what's happening here in that industry, has been so shaped by Call of Duty's success that every shooter thinks that they need to have the same dopamine loop. The challenges, the XP bars, weapon camos, daily objectives, prestige systems, all that stuff just to be engaging. And that's not engagement, that's addiction, that's conditioning. Call of Duty trained us to think that progress equals fun, when in reality, progress systems replace fun when the gameplay itself isn't strong enough to stand on its own. Battlefield doesn't need to follow that formula. The fun is the gameplay loop, the emergent chaos, the massive scale, the feeling of being a part of that huge war, and that's what makes it special. But when Call of Duty players and streamers especially say that Battlefield should have more grind rewards, what they're really saying is, I need a reason to play if the game itself isn't enough. And honestly, I think that's a sad mindset for gaming, because back in the day, before we had this whole grind factor, you would just enjoy the game for what it was and just enjoy the gameplay. That was enough. But let's be real for a second. Would people even play games today if there wasn't a grind? I don't think so, because gamers have been trained to chase that next unlock. Every match, every session, every kill. And it all feeds in to that little bar at the bottom of your screen. You're not playing for the fun of it anymore. You're playing for the reward of it. Imagine a Battlefield or any shooter where there's no XP, no challenges, no unlocks, just pure gameplay. Would people actually enjoy it? I think a smaller group actually would, the ones who care about the gameplay first. But the majority, they just bounce up after a week because they've been programmed to think that progress equals purpose. That's when streamers like Nadeshot say Battlefield needs more camos and challenges, and it's not even about fun anymore. It's about needing that structure. It's needing that dopamine hit. They don't even know how to enjoy a game unless it's feeding them XP every 10 seconds. That's what years of this whole Call of Duty cycle and live service games have done to people, and it's changed the way we experience games. Battlefield's true identity is chaos and teamwork. It's about the moments and not the medals. It's that time when you and your squad defended a point against an entire tank platoon. It's when you jumped off a building, wingsuited across a map, dropped a C4 on a helicopter, shot a helicopter or even a jet out of the sky with an RPG. Those are those moments, the Battlefield moments, that don't need camos or XP bonuses, and they're just fun because they happen naturally. Battlefield 6 needs to recapture that. It doesn't need these flashy rewards, it doesn't need a grind loop, it just needs to make every match feel like a story where you tell your friends that this is what happened in the game. That's what made the old Battlefield games legendary. Not the camos, not the challenges, moments. So to Nadeshot, to all the COD streamers out there, I mean, I get it. You're used to that grind loop, you're used to having your fun measured by how many headshots you got with the gold camo on, but not every game needs to follow that formula. Battlefield doesn't need kill streaks, it doesn't need reactive camos, it doesn't need that constant dopamine drip. What it needs is to stay Battlefield and stay grounded, because if it tries to become Call of Duty, it'll die trying. But anyways, let me know your guys' thoughts about all of this down in the comment section below. If you guys enjoyed today's video, make sure you guys hit that like button. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit the bell to be notified every single time I upload a video. Now with that being said, this is GCP signing off.